For the second time this year, a high-ranking Thunder Bay police officer has been found not guilty of assault. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Staff Sergeant Michael Dimony received his verdict this morning at the City Courthouse. Dimony was charged with multiple offenses by the OPP in late 2023, and this was the second of 3 criminal trials for the suspended police officer. Jonathan Wilson has the details.
Mike Dimony pleaded not guilty at the start of the 4-day trial held this week at the City Courthouse. The assault charge dates back to an incident that took place in October of 2016, in which an intoxicated man was subjected to a hard takedown. On Friday, the judge came back and delivered a verdict of not guilty. However, no reasons were given for the ruling. This was the second successful court defense for Dimony this year. In February, he pleaded not guilty to a charge of assault involving an incident in 2014 outside of what was then the Target store at Intercity Shopping Centre. A woman was injured while being arrested by Dimony in the parking lot. The judge dismissed the charge, stating the Crown failed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the woman's arrest was unlawful and that Dimony used excessive force during the course of the arrest. So now it's 2 criminal trials down and 1 to go for Dimony, who was charged by OPP in December of 2023 on the 2 separate counts of assault, along with breach of trust and obstruction of justice related to an incident in 2020. His 3rd trial on those 2 final charges is scheduled to take place at the end of this month. Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
Meanwhile, another Thunder Bay police officer recently found guilty of assault causing bodily harm has decided to file an appeal, claiming the trial judge erred in his ruling and his sentencing decision. Constable Ryan Doherty was charged by the SIU after the incident in November 2022 involving a 60-year-old mental health patient who had wandered away from the regional hospital. The court heard the man received 4 punches to the head and suffered a fractured nose and concussion. The jury verdict was delivered in early October. Then in March, the judge gave Doherty a suspended sentence, leaving him with a criminal record. The appeal was filed last week. Doherty's lawyer says the judge did not consider all the evidence and also should have granted the officer conditional discharge. The appeal will be heard starting in July. Traffic in a part of West Fort was disrupted for several hours this morning due to a strange mishap at the James Street underpass. A transport driver is facing charges after the top of a shipping container on the back of his trailer collided with the railway bridge. Brendan Miller has more.
Thunder Bay police were dispatched around 8:30 in the morning to the scene on James Street, just south of Gore Street. It appears the driver of this tractor-trailer clearly misjudged the height of his cargo. The transport was carrying a shipping container, which struck the bottom of the railway overpass. No injuries were reported, but the collision caused the sea can to slide to the back of the trailer and was a little bit off kilter, but it did not fall off. City police, along with OPP and CPKC rail officials, responded. Engineers inspected the rail bridge to ensure there was no structural damage, and trains were back moving after it was deemed safe. The section of South James Street around the underpass was closed to traffic for a few hours and has since reopened. The driver of the transport, a 22-year-old man from Winnipeg, is facing multiple Traffic Act offenses, including careless driving, having an unsecure load, and operating an overheight vehicle. Brendan Miller, TBT News.
Thunder Bay police have announced the results of their latest drug trafficking investigation, which saw the seizure of illicit substances and a loaded handgun. The Police Intelligence Unit, along with the Emergency Task Force, executed a search warrant on Cumberland Street North yesterday afternoon. Along with the firearm, police discovered an undisclosed quantity of suspected cocaine and fentanyl. 1 male suspect and 1 female suspect, both aged 40, were arrested on a variety of drug trafficking and firearm offenses. The 2 accused appeared in court today and remain in custody with future court dates. There's an effort to empower hospital employees to make positive changes. The Regional Health Sciences Foundation is dedicating nearly $140,000 to dozens of staff-led initiatives through the hospital's Family Care Grants program. As Ryan Graham tells us, these resources should make a big difference to patients and the healthcare workers who treat them.
From relief of needle pain to high-tech hearing aids, the Regional Health Sciences Foundation is providing 74 grants for ideas brought forth by hospital staff, like Buzzy needle pain relief devices for pediatric patients.
A lot of children that we see in our department, either on inpatient or outpatient, have a fear of needles or needle pokes. So this device just helps as a cute little distraction.
This device is a child-friendly device that we use to relieve pain in children using two different sensations. We use cold for one sensation, which is this ice pack here, and then there's a vibration as well.
These are called Williams Sound Pocket Talkers. They amplify sound and reduce background noise for elderly patients with hearing difficulties.
The significance mainly comes when we're doing family meetings with patients that are included in their care, and finding that a lot of times they were just kind of looking around, looking lost, trying to almost read lips. And
we want to make sure they can hear exactly what is going on, and we want to give them that opportunity to answer the questions themselves.
The committee did a really good job they did a thorough review of each of the grants that came through to make sure we were making the right decision. Why? On behalf of the staff here at the hospital, because they're the ones that need these items, big or small, doesn't matter, but it helps them provide quality patient care on a regular basis, and that's what it's all about here.
Ryan Graham, TBT News.
Lakehead Public School students were able to express themselves through dance last night as the school board hosted the Creative Movement Jamboree at Fort William Gardens. Around 650 elementary school students showcased their moves and creativity through a variety of dances. This year's theme was Welcome Back, as it marked the return of the event after a 5-year hiatus due to the pandemic. Audiences were treated to performances from 15 schools, with students from kindergarten to grade 8 being able to take part. Nor'Wester View teacher Jacqueline Nelson says the Jamboree is great for students who want to take part in school events but aren't necessarily drawn to sports.
This gives them an opportunity to move and experience a huge event. This is one of the biggest events that the Lakehead Public Schools has, and so it's quite an experience for them to be the Fort William Gardens, performing in front of their families, their friends, their grandparents, their schools, their peers. It's an amazing experience for them.
The 89th Firefighters 10-mile road race is coming up in just a few weeks, and once again, close to 1,000 runners and community volunteers are expected to take part in Thunder Bay's biggest race of the year. Organizers are putting out a call for more people to help out, noting that the race can't go on without volunteers. Jessica Clement has the details.
Thunder Bay's largest race will be back on Victoria Day, and organizers are now working on the finishing touches before race day. Race director Herb Danaher says the 10-mile road race is still short of volunteers, needing around 30 road marshals. He explains those volunteers will take care of the barricades to ensure the runners are safe.
We need people to step up. We're already seeing some people react when we put the call out. But again, feel free. You get training. We'll train you up, and basically you get a free shirt, and you get invited to the volunteer party. But more importantly, you get to experience and be part of the race.
Danaher says the race already has around 450 individual runners and 30 relay teams signed up, noting that they have enough room for another 30 teams. He says Kim Krasanoski will also be coming back to compete, this time without her twin sister Michelle, who's injured. The Krasanoskis were the top Canadian finishers at the Boston Marathon in 2024. He says Kim is vying for a course record that was set back in 1984.
She understands that it's going to be quite the challenge. Those records have been held by elite runners for a significant number of years, but she seems to be up for the challenge, and she's a very positive person to begin with. And I have a suspicion that if she can't get there, she's going to be close.
This is the 89th edition of the historic race. Danaher says it's amazing that the event has become a springtime tradition.
There's like a connection to Thunder Bay. If you haven't done the 10 mile, you know somebody that's done it or a family member. So there's a connection. It's all intertwined. It's a fabric that's woven within the community.
This will be city firefighter Melissa Gilles' second time competing in the race. She says it's a big event for the firefighters, with many of them excited to take part.
We have a lot of firefighters who go out and run We have an award for the fastest rookie firefighter, so that always gets some competition going amongst us, and everyone gets excited to go out. And it's a great way for us to get out in the community and get the community together for a big event. So it's just something really important to us.
Volunteers and runners can register on the race's website. Registration closes on Sunday, May 11th, just before midnight. The race takes place on holiday Monday, May 19th. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Well, that race is definitely beloved by a lot of people in the community, my family included. But you know, Fiona, with all this rain lately, I haven't been able to go out and practice as much. So I don't think I'll be running this year. So I'm blaming it on the rain.
That's the reason.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll just go
it
with
counts.
that.
Yeah.
We'll just go with that.
It's good
And you know, there was a lot of rain. It just kept lingering. We weren't expecting it to stick around as long as it did, but boy, did it ever. Just moved a lot slower than we had expected. There wasn't much wind, and it just kind of plodded along. So instead of being done by about noon, it lingered most of the day. At this point, though, for the most part, it has ended. It started out, though, in Thunder Bay, depending on where you were, with rain or snow. It was more of a snow-like consistency on the north side of the city, maybe a little bit more of a rain-snow mix on the south side. We started out with a low of 1, warmed up to 6 Celsius, but as you can see, very little wind, just 2 to 13 kilometers an hour this afternoon. Now at this time, we've got lots of sunshine in Fort Frances. They're enjoying 12 Celsius, 11 in Red Lake under mostly cloudy skies. This was a nice warm-up in areas of the west because Red Lake actually started below the freezing mark in the early morning hours, so that was a nice warm-up. As you head eastward, you see single digits starting to creep in, 9 in Sioux Lookout, and then 6 in Armstrong, 4 in Greenstone. Temperatures really didn't move a whole lot today. They started below and only inched a little bit above, but mainly cloudy skies. It's only been in the last hour that the sun is starting to peek out north of Lake Superior. Now along the North Shore, just 3 at this hour in Nipigon, 5 in Marathon and Wawa, and even in Sault Ste. Marie, where they are still dealing with periodic showers popping up. They had a couple of showers this afternoon, then mostly cloudy, and now it looks like they've had another short rain shower pop in again. Here in the city of Thunder Bay, it's going to be cooler tonight than last night. It's definitely a chilly overnight and start to the weekend, -4 and wind chills of -6. The good news is winds are going to stay very light from the south, starting at about 10 k and then diminishing down to about 5 as the skies clear. Now we're heading into the weekend, and for those who, unlike Haley, are still planning on doing the road race, we've got some good news for their outdoor training. Finally, dry. So that's a good first step. Secondly, seasonal for the most part, and also sunny eventually. We'll get there over the weekend. So it's not fabulous news, but it's better news, and we are heading in the right direction, Haley, for the weekend and for anybody who's doing either outdoor training or starting to do the annual garden cleanup. My neighbor started doing hers, and I think she's shaming me into pulling out the rakes. I think we've got a lot of work to do, though.
Oh yeah, well, when the sun comes out, we have to take advantage of it the best we can, for sure.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Fiona.